Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun Holko, alongside my guys, Mr. Kevin Dent and Mr. Jaevon Toddy, here for episode number 134. And guys, we have a jam-packed episode for our audience today, as arguably the biggest trade in NBA history happened this past weekend. And I'm not talking about De'Aaron Fox being traded away from the Sacramento Kings. One could even argue that the biggest trade in sports history happened this past weekend. And oh yeah, the Super Bowl's happening this weekend. So we got a lot to cover. Yeah, no big deal. But anyways, here we are back for another episode. And Jaevon, rather than asking you how you're doing, I was just wondering if you could remind the people on where they could get some sweet treats for Valentine's Day coming up this year.
Hey, man, Valentine's Day is coming up. We got Treats by Trey, man. We got Dat Niner Chick on TikTok, Instagram. You need something for your lady. You need something for Valentine's Day. Get it right. Don't get it tight, man. Go ahead and follow the Instagram down below and TikTok below if you're looking for your treats, anything that you need for Valentine's Day. Go get it where it's hot because, man, Valentine's Day, you're going to blink. Valentine's Day here. So go ahead and follow the Instagram, follow the TikTok. You need your treats. You need your stuff for your significant other. It could be for your mom. It could be for your significant other. It could be for your grandma, whoever it is you need it for. Hey, we don't discriminate on this podcast. For your boyfriend as well, we don't discriminate. Hey, you need what you need. Go down below, click the Instagram, click the TikTok, and get it right, man. Go ahead. Go ahead and follow that Instagram, follow the social media, do what you need to do. Get right, man. Make your significant others put a smile on their face, man. Valentine's Day. Come on now.
Most definitely. Shout out to T and KD, man. 6 days away from Judgment Day. We see the jerseys hanging up on the wall. You said that we would have a new jersey up there. It looks like it's not there quite yet, but by next Monday, I would imagine it'll be there. All right. And so just given the fact that we are now less than a week away from the Eagles potentially getting their get back against the Chiefs, or at least they have the opportunity, how are we feeling, Kevin?
Before we get into that, Shaun, did you check your phone before the video started?
This is hilarious.
I did not, but I saw you guys chuckling a little bit.
Okay, so insider for the listeners.
Okay, I see a thread.
Lattimore's post after the playoff game, right? I said, AJ Brown is your father. Someone commented saying, commenting on the 2022 photo is something wild. This isn't even true. I said, I just had to make sure he knew. Played his bum ass twice and made him look very, very bad. So bad he wanted to fight AJ. So Marshawn Lattimore responds to me and says, get off my dick. I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. This literally happened as we were loading up in the stream.
So, wait, this is a 2022 picture?
It was an old photo. I went on like 3 of his photos and just
Kevin will continue to troll his way into fame.
Hey, man. I should have responded, asked that to our politics. But, it all happened so fast, but I'm doing well, man. I was telling Toddy, I just got to get to Sunday. We'll get into the Kings trade. They let me down. I just got to get to Sunday. It's been a hard week. I've been taking a lot of jabs. So, yeah, I'm doing well football-wise, but, for everybody else in the world, it's basketball season. So, unfortunately, my basketball team is kind of going through some turmoil. Shaun and I were talking about it before the podcast. And a lot of the non-Kings fans will think, it's just now. We're kind of running into some bumps, but we've been dealing with some things for a long time. So it is what it is. And unfortunately, we built the next Spurs dynasty. So
yeah, the most ironic part about you going at Marshawn Lattimore is the fact that you're an Ohio State fan and he's a Buckeyes alumnus.
Oh, bro. Fuck that. He was trying to fight AJ.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like a dumb question based on everything we've already talked about, but you would say that your Eagles fandom outweighs your Buckeyes fandom?
So, Shaun, me and Toddy talked about this. Alyssa asked me the day before the national championship. She said, Kevin, if you had to choose one, who wins? And I said, you know what, Alyssa? I got up. While I was on the couch, I got up, put my hand on my knee and said, Go Birds. The fuck? I don't think you get that. 10 times out of 10, I would prefer a Super Bowl over a college football championship, but Eagles fan is top notch for me.
Yeah, that's understandable.
That's Kevin's catchphrase. Go Birds the fuck.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. I would definitely take Kings, 49ers. I don't know if I want to say Oakland A's anymore because they're not the Oakland A's anymore. They're just
West
the
Sac
Athletics.
A's.
The West Sac A's. Hopefully they get stuck in Sacramento and they don't even go to Vegas. Then I'll remain a fan. But I would take a Kings championship. I would take a 49ers championship over another Buckeyes title. Stanford winning a college football championship. I got to see Stanford win a women's basketball national championship in 2022, which was pretty, or 2021, which was pretty awesome. But the key phrase the key word that I said there is another Buckeyes championship, because I got it in 2014. Like, my heart has been full since 2014. I got to watch it alongside my grandpa, who was an Ohio State alum, and he was the reason why I'm even a Buckeyes fan in the first place. And so if the Buckeyes hadn't won a championship in my lifetime, I feel like I'd be a little bit more torn, but I completely understand, Kevin. The Eagles fandom is hard. It is strong, and we will get to your Eagles a little bit later, guys, but let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it, because arguably the biggest trade in NBA history, if not sports history, in North America, happened this past weekend. As you see on the ticker below, the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic, a top 5 player in the league, to the Lakers. The Lakers, for a package including Anthony Davis. And Shams Charania of ESPN broke the news on Saturday night, and it was so ludicrous that celebrities, fellow NBA players, fellow NBA journalists, no one could believe it, and everyone thought that Shams got hacked. So then he followed up his original tweet by saying, yes, this is real. Sources tell ESPN the full trade is the Lakers get Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, Markieff Morris. The Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 Lakers first-round pick. And the Jazz, being the third team in the trade, and that's the funniest part about it, is that Celtics legend Danny Ainge, who runs the Utah Jazz now, didn't know that he was helping facilitate a Luka Doncic to the Lakers trade till 30 minutes prior, when it was already too late. But the Jazz got Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 Clippers second-round pick, and a 2025 Mavericks second-round pick. And so, Kevin, I'm going to toss it to you first. What are your thoughts on this blockbuster trade in the association?
Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. A lot of my non-basketball friends were asking me, Kevin, what's the football comparison to Luka or the Mavs trading Luka? I said, that's like we wake up tomorrow and the Baltimore Ravens trade Lamar Jackson to the Colts for Anthony Richardson. That's Patrick Mahomes was traded for Miles Sanders. Like, you don't trade your top guy. The Bills trading Josh Allen. You know, all the shit Zion has put the Pelicans through, and they are still saying, we're going to figure it out. You have that generational talent, you do whatever you can. Another example, trust the process, Joel Embiid. The Sixers are not trading Joel Embiid. You don't trade that guy. Luka Doncic is 25 years old, 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, scoring champ last season, single-handedly carried the Dallas Mavericks to the finals. He's considered, Shaun said he's a top 5 basketball player in the world. Some people can say he's top 3 when healthy. And it's crazy.
Or in shape.
Or in shape. You know, he's 25 years old and has 5 first-team All-NBAs. Can you guys name the active players with 5 All-NBA first teams?
Besides Luka, obviously. Kevin Durant, LeBron James. Those are the easy ones. Giannis?
Nope, not Steph. Giannis.
Yep. Okay.
There's one more.
Oh, damn. Okay, I got 3 out of 4 right out of the gate. Who's the other one?
Name?
It's not.
Nope.
It's not Kawhi. It's not Kawhi.
Nope. Is it 5
Jokic.
Nope. Yes, 4.
Oh, fuck. God damn it. So close. Who are we just overlooking right now?
Who would you say already, Shaun?
I said LeBron, KD, Giannis, and
There's one more
is
name.
it Jason Tatum?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
All-star.
All right, Kevin. Who do we got?
You guys got to kick yourself for it. You want to take
All
another
right,
guess?
all right. Who we're gonna kick ourselves for it? We already guessed Steph. We're gonna kick ourselves for it. Okay, it's like it is on the tip of my tongue, and I am just blanking out right now.
I'll give you guys a hint. He's an older guy.
Nope, he's an older guy. He's an older guy. We already said LeBron, KD.
I'm beat. Yeah.
James
We're
Harden.
gonna.
Oh, Una.
Okay.
Damn,
That
So
totally makes sense.
when you hear, you're like, oh damn, I would have never even guessed James Harden.
Yeah, no, 100%.
CP3 has 4, Steph has 4, Joker has 4. So this list was almost next year they'll be added to this list. But yeah.
Ooh, I got one off the dome. Luka is one of 3 players to have 5 All NBA selections in his first 7 seasons. Who's the other 2?
LeBron.
Yep. Actually,
first 5 and 7 seasons.
Actually, wait, did LeBron do it though? I don't know if LeBron.
Yeah, because he didn't get it his first season, and I'm sure he got it his second season. His third season, he won MVP. So.
Okay, I know Kevin Durant's one of them. I thought it, and this one's just straight off the dome, so I don't have the information in front of me. So forgive me if I'm wrong. But I just kept hearing this stat on SportsCenter. I thought it was KD and Michael Jordan, but
I could be wrong because it's 5 out of the first 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very important specification, Kevin. And so thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Kevin Durant and Michael Jordan who had 5 first-team All-NBA selections within the first 7 seasons. Regardless, Luka Doncic is an all-time great. And so, Kevin, I didn't mean to cut off your analysis there.
All good, no, but I thought it was a really interesting to hear all the 5 All NBA lists, to see Luka being 26 years old. Everybody else on that list besides Giannis is in their late 30s. So that's what the Lakers are getting. The Lakers did it again. You know, I've been seeing a lot of the memes of from Breaking Bad saying they just can't keep getting away with this. You know,
Seriously.
First it was Kareem, then it was Will, then it's Paul Gasol, then it's Shaq. How do you go from Kobe to LeBron to Luka? I said it when we introduced ourselves in the beginning of the show. We built the Spurs dynasty. The Mavericks just let the Lakers double up. Everyone's been asking, what's the plan post LeBron? Can AD do it? Can AD stay healthy? I guess we know the answer to that question. On the Mavericks side of this, I think the Mavericks are going to be a top 3 seed in the West. I think seeing Anthony Davis back at the power forward, since we haven't seen him do that since 2020. And when he did that, not only did the Lakers win a championship, he averaged 26 points, 9 boards, 3 assists. He was first team All NBA and first team All Defense. Having Anthony Davis as an off-ball defender is insane. All they were asking for in LA was get us another big man. Anthony Davis and Shams just did an interview last week. And Anthony Davis is preaching, go get us a big, go get us a big. The Mavericks were able to get Anthony Davis and keep guys like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. So they have this size. Anthony Davis has come out multiple times and said the reason they won that championship is because they had guys like JaVale and Dwight. I'm not saying Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are JaVale and Dwight. I'm just saying to have that size, Anthony Davis now gets to go back to being an off-ball defender. Kyrie Irving, all that shit that was said about him the past couple of years, no one's saying it now because the Mavericks just gave him the keys. And I think this is going to be one of the top duels in the NBA, and it's going to be very interesting to kind of see how it plays out. But the Dallas Mavericks definitely walked away the winner of this trade because Luka's hurt, and there's still a lot of questions around LeBron and the rest of this Lakers team. So if they're able to put something together and kind of make a push, then we can talk about who won the trade at the end of the season. But as of right now, February 3rd, the Mavericks won this trade.
I don't even know if the Mavericks gave Kyrie Irving the keys. They might be just giving them right to Anthony Davis, because let's not forget, as you were alluding to, Kevin, you mentioned 2020 when he was playing alongside JaVale McGee. But when Anthony Davis was by himself in New Orleans, and then when he was playing with DeMarcus Cousins in New Orleans, like, Anthony Davis was that guy. The only reason why the Lakers weren't his team is because he went to go play with arguably the greatest player of all time, if not the greatest player of his generation. And so, Toddy, what are your thoughts on this? Because obviously you are a noted Kyrie Irving fan, Kyrie Irving expert on this podcast. And so just what are your thoughts on this absolutely crazy deal in the NBA?
Well, kind of going back to what you were saying, I didn't think it was real at first. Cordell posted in the group chat. Actually, I want to give a quick shout out to Cordell, new dad Cordell.
Hey, congratulations, Cordell! Shout out to cousin Cordell.
But it just didn't seem real. So I went on, X and just was looking and scrolling, and I was like doing a little deep dive, and I was like, huh. And I called Kevin. I'm like, Kevin, what are you doing? Man, just some scrolling on TikTok, nothing major. I said, Luka just got traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. He said, get the fuck out of here. You're lying. I said, I swear to, I was like, it doesn't sound real, but it's just Shams tweeted it, of all people. It's Shams Charania tweeted it. It's from his account. I was like, maybe it got hacked. I don't know what it is. Shams had to literally quote his own tweet and say, this is real. This is not.
That's exactly what a hacker would say too. Oh yeah, this is real.
This is real. And I'm like, there's no way. What? No, there's no way. Then you start seeing other reporters saying, I can confirm this is true. And you start seeing credible, real reporters. Chris Haynes, Mark Stein, Wendy. They went on Sports Center. They had to go on Sports Center and say, hey guys, this is not a hoax. This is real. So I'm just like, how is this even possible? And you're kind of just going through the nicks and crannies of it. And you're like, okay, was it just Anthony Davis, Luka straight up? And then you kind of look at the trade and just Danny Ainge just having no idea that he was handing off Luka to the Lakers has to be absolutely heartbreaking. He probably wouldn't have even sniffed. Hey, can you take on the salary? It's Jalen Hood-Schifino. Yeah, no problem. Give me a couple picks. Call it a day. And then all of a sudden he's going into it, and before the trade gets finalized, Luka Doncic to the Lakers. So Nico Harrison is either the smartest man alive or the dumbest person alive. There's no in between. It's black or white. You traded away the guy who literally he averaged 35 in the playoffs last year. Got to the finals. Took you to a conference finals before the age of at the age of 25. And you come out and say we can't win with that style of play? They just went to the finals, literally. Not even a year ago. 6 months ago, 7 months ago, you were in the finals with Luka Doncic, knocking on the door.
And I think they won a game. They just lost to the better team too. They just lost to the better team. It's not even better. Yeah.
I feel like you're not even. And then I saw a press conference. Do you see a press conference with him and Jason Kidd? You can see it on J Kidd's. His body language he is distraught. Mm-hmm. Can't believe it. It's all on his face. We traded who away? And then he comes out and says, the future is 3 to 4 years. We're not looking at about 7, 8 years from now. Me and J Kidd could be gone by now. What are you talking about? What do you mean? You don't say things like that. And Luka I know he's got a smirk on his face right now. He's got a smirk on his face oh, okay. You guys don't believe in me? Gave you guys my heart and soul. Took you guys to the finals. Oh, okay. I can't play anymore. Okay. All right. That game on February 25th is going to do massive numbers. I think Luka, when healthy, is a top 3 player in the NBA. All NBA. We already discussed all his accolades. All NBA every year except his rookie year. I mean, this is like you don't trade guys like Luka. You don't trade guys like Jokic, Shea Alexander. Like you don't Anthony Edwards. Like you don't trade these types of guys. Yeah, it really just doesn't make sense to me. I'm still trying to process how this is even real. Luka said, I saw a report saying, I think it was from Jake Fisher, saying that he could make his debut as early as Saturday. So I'm just, how many people are going to tune into that game? Just watch a regular season game, Luka Doncic's first game on the Lakers. Everyone's going to be watching. So it's crazy. And then you start to see all these domino effects of, I think a bunch of just around the sports, all of sports, like even in football, we saw Myles Garrett request trade today, Cooper Kupp. Right after the Luka trade, you saw De'Aaron Fox get traded, and we'll get into that later in the show. I think this was a huge, unexpected domino. Like, this was not even supposed to happen. And for this to happen, and then you're like, oh, Luka got traded? But Stephon Castle can't get traded? It's very interesting how the Lakers keep getting guys in trades. LeBron. Well, LeBron didn't get it in the trade. You get guys like Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You just Shaq, Kobe. Like, you're just all these.
On and on and on and on.
And you know what's crazy? Guys are going to want to come to L.A. now and play with Luka. Oh, Luka's in L.A.? Well, hold on. Let me mosey on down to Los Angeles and figure out how we're going to be able to how we can team up together. Same thing happened with LeBron. LeBron was able to lure Anthony Davis over. I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to find. I mean, just imagine the guys that are going to want to play with Luka. Come to LA. Who doesn't want to go to LA and play basketball for the Lakers? So it comes down to it, like the Lakers pedigree kind of sells itself. You want to play in LA, you want to play with the best players in the world. The Lakers, the rich get richer. And I know for the Kings fans and myself as well, we want to see the Lakers get better. Luka Doncic, like of all people. So we're all excited to see what the new NBA is going to look. I think now this is like a precedent at the trade deadline. I didn't expect really much to happen at the trade deadline. Maybe Jimmy Butler and De'Aaron Fox as of late, but I think there's a bunch of guys that kind of you wouldn't think get traded. Like maybe a Zion Williamson could get traded. That's something that you could definitely look into. Obviously Jimmy Butler. There's Brandon Ingram that's still out there. I think we're going to see a lot of GMs kind of get a little frisky now that we've seen Luka Doncic get traded out of nowhere. So buckle, fasten your seatbelts. I think the deadline's on Thursday. So we got a couple of days. I mean, we might see some have them post notifications on. Another thing too, I was thinking about. What if Woj just had this just lying on his phone, like just in his phone? He knew for like a week and a half and was just like, it's not me anymore, guys. It's like he probably had it however long and figured out like, hey, like, did you hear about this? Yeah, man, I knew about it about a week ago. It's been brewing. It came across my desk still. So, yeah, this is one of those. Where were you at when this trade happened? You kind of remember like there's like little. I think this is probably the craziest trade in sports history. But it's like little tidbits that you hear. Like I remember where I was at when LeBron announced he was going to Miami. When Katie said, "I'm going to the Warriors." Trying to think what other crazy trades. Oh, James Harden going to Brooklyn. Those are just little tidbits there. But I mean, yeah, this is probably the craziest trade I've ever seen ever in sports.
Yeah, it definitely is. And in my fantasy basketball group chat a couple weeks ago, someone asked, for all the Kings fans, who do you hate more, the Lakers or the Warriors? And I said, oh, it's always been the Lakers. It'll always be the Lakers. And obviously this was way before this even happened, but there was maybe like a 2 to 3 year window when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors where the Warriors were the team that I hated the most in basketball. And I was like, I consider myself a Kevin Durant fan before he went to the Warriors and after he went to the Warriors. While he was with the Warriors, it's just like, no. Like I wrote an opinion piece for my college newspaper at the time, basically saying like, Kevin Durant, you're a snake. Like, how could you do that? Like, of all teams, you went there. And so for maybe 2 to 3 years, the Warriors were the team that I hated the most, but it's always been the Lakers. It's always going to be the Lakers. And this is just another prime example of it. You guys have both already said it, that like, how do they keep getting away with this? And for Luka Doncic to be a Los Angeles Laker, like when I remove myself as a Kings fan, I take off this hat, I take off this jersey, and I just look at it as someone who is an aspiring sports journalist and who wants to do this for a career. And maybe I'll be on ESPN one day giving my takes or at least reporting about it. And when I put my unbiased journalist hat on, I think this is pretty damn cool because we know about the relationship that Kobe Bryant had with Luka Doncic, how fondly Kobe Bryant and his entire family thought of Luka Doncic. And even you think back to Kobe's last Laker game that he was ever at, he's talking to Luka in Slovenian courtside. And to have 1 week after the 5-year anniversary of Kobe, Gianna, and the 7 others passing, and to have Luka become a Laker, like, I don't know what your guys' religious beliefs are, but it's like there's a higher purpose that's kind of making these moves. For Nico Harrison to only talk to the Lakers, to only talk to Rob Pelinka, and I saw a report today that said that Rob Pelinka was originally gonna trade Dalton Connect and like 2 more first-round picks for Luka with Anthony Davis and the first that they ended up getting. And Rob Pelinka said to him, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that because Luka's conditioning, it's just not there. I mean, why do you guys want to trade him? Because he's overweight and his conditioning just isn't there. And for Rob Pelinka to finesse his way into like there's a couple things that I wanted to read before we move on to De'Aaron Fox. And this really just kind of puts it all into context. So first and foremost, the Mavs turned Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, and Kristaps Porzingis into Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Straight up 3-for-3 swap. Luka, Jalen Brunson, and Kristaps Porzingis for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, that is insane. And then you look at what the Nets turned a 34-year-old Kevin Durant into. Brace yourself because it's long. Cam Johnson, Zaire Williams, 2023 Phoenix first-round pick, 2025 Phoenix first-round pick, 2025 New York Knicks first-round pick. You know what? Let's just spare all the listeners from me naming off all these picks. Let's see. So Cam Johnson, Zaire Williams, and 9 first-round picks, 2 first-round pick swaps, and 4 second-round picks.
Don't forget about a championship.
And a championship. Yeah, that's what the Nets turned 34-year-old Kevin Durant into. Was 9 first-round picks.
I thought
2 pick swaps. Sorry. 9 first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, 4 second-round picks. Cam Johnson and Zaire Williams. That's what the Nets got for a 34-year-old Kevin Durant. But for a 25-year-old Luka Doncic, we already know, and we've already noted what they got.
Can you imagine the amount of picks GMs would have offered? Knowing if Luka Doncic was on the market, I told Kevin, I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody would offer them 10 first-round picks.
Should have, could have.
I mean,
and they didn't because they didn't. Because Nico didn't give them the chance.
That's one of the things, though. You don't want. I see both sides of it because you don't want the message out there that Luka's on the market, because it gives off a vibe in the locker room and all that stuff, versus you do it behind closed doors. But at the same time, if you put them on the market, you're going to get way better offers than what you got. I guarantee.
Yeah, and I completely understand your point of not wanting to hurt the locker room chemistry and everything, but like you're removing the biggest piece. So the locker room is going to shift regardless. And like the Lakers and the Mavericks, Nico Harris and Rob Pelinka, they were negotiating this deal for about a month.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, you're going to make Luka upset, blah, 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 blah. At that point, you've already decided you're going to trade him. So who cares about making him upset? Get the best value you possibly can. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, Nico Harrison is just in love with Anthony Davis, I guess, that he was just like 31-year-old going on 32. Anthony Davis, that's who I want. That's the centerpiece. Take it or leave it. Here's Luka Doncic. It just doesn't make sense to me. And the last thing that I'll say about this, it comes from Luka Doncic's dad. So Mr. Doncic said, with this trade, hypocrisy hurts me personally. I think Luka absolutely did not deserve this. I know he sacrificed a lot. I know Luka really respected Dallas. He respected the whole city. He helped children, and it was not a problem for him to go to hospitals and charity events. He played 100 games last season for like 40 minutes per game, constantly being doubled. I feel it's really unfair from certain people from Dallas. That's from Luka's dad right there, and I think it really nailed it. It does not make sense to me. It still does not make sense to me, yet here we are, and Luka Doncic is a Laker. As a Kings fan, it just makes me absolutely sick. It makes me sick not only the fact that Luka is a Laker, but for what they gave up to get him. It would be one thing if the Lakers just totally traded away half their team. They traded away Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, 5 first-round picks. But for them to give up what they did and get Luka Doncic, now you're going from having the greatest player of all time to arguably the greatest European player of all time. I mean, Wemby's going to have something to say about that. And who knows, if Luka gets his conditioning right and he gets on that LeBron James diet, he could potentially get to another level as well, which is just scary to think. And some Kings fans were celebrating this because they're like, hey, now we're not the ones who have made the dumbest move when it comes to Luka Doncic, aka passing him up in the 2018 draft. Now the Mavericks have made that move, but it's like, at what cost? Now he's on your biggest rival, and you're happy about that?
You get to see him 4 more times. You get to see him 4 times.
It's a good thing that the Kings, unless they see him in the playoffs, which I mean, the Kings beat the Timberwolves tonight on the road, so that's cool. But unless the Kings play the Lakers in the playoffs, they don't have to see Luka wearing yellow until next season, because we already lost 4 times to the Anthony Davis-led Lakers this year. But, you know, it was a rough weekend if you were a Sacramento Kings fan, and that leads us into our next topic as the Sacramento Kings. Oh, sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, before we move on, the only way to look at it, Shaun, is they didn't want to pay him $350. This new management said, we're not giving you $350 million. Like, we just don't believe it. I mean, and that's the only way to look at it. They just didn't want to pay him that money.
Kev, I saw that Chandler Parsons texted Mark Cuban. He was like, I'm very confused. And then Mark Cuban texted him back and said, that makes 2 of us.
Me too.
If Mark Cuban was still majority owner, this doesn't happen.
There's no way in hell.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, yeah. This doesn't happen. He said, if I had to. Go ahead, Kev. No, Kev, go ahead.
In 2020, they asked if he could keep his wife for Luka Doncic, what would he do? And he said, the next day we'd be filing our divorce. We'd be having a divorce out water. He's like, there's no way. How do you do this? And you know what? New management, they said, I mean, in his 6 years, he's had 4 calf strains, same calf. So a lot of that could go to, you know, not being in condition, overweight, A, B, C, and D. But it's still too early to give up on him. But that's the only way to look at it. They didn't want to pay him that money. They said, fuck you, Luka. We're going to cost you $160 million that you would have gotten a Supermax. Don't go to LA.
Yeah, and also we know how dangerous calf strains can turn into. Calf strains could turn into a ruptured Achilles, and then you're out for at least a year. And so I guess we'll have to wait and see. The last thing I'll say about this, actually, you know what? Before I get there, obviously, number one, the Mavericks are in a win now situation. As Kevin was saying earlier, they got arguably a top 3, top 4 team in the West now with Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis as the nucleus. And so that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But the last thing I wanted to ask you guys before we moved on from this, and we've spent about 30 minutes on this, understandably so, because this is arguably the biggest trade in NBA history, if not sports history. But what I wanted to ask you guys, and we can just get a simple yes or no. Jaevon, I'll toss it to you first. If the Mavericks win a championship, I'm saying one. If the Mavericks win a championship with Anthony Davis on their roster, does that make this trade worth it?
No. No. Kevin, you're muted. But
yeah. So
no.
Jaevon says no. Kevin, now that you're unmuted, what's your take on it?
I would say no, because who's to say Luka can't win 2? And now you could have won 2.
He is 25.
I'm saying, like, it's too early. Like, there's no way.
We ain't gonna know what
they would have to. They would have to win 2.
Yeah,
if they can win 2, I think it solidifies it.
See, for me, if they win 2, if they win 3, does not do it for me. This because like the Mavericks were in the Western Conference Finals 2 of the last 3 seasons, even with Luka not at peak physical conditioning.
He was hurt all last year.
And they still made it to the NBA Finals, and they just lost to a seasoned team that was better and that had more depth. And like we saw the Celtics in 2022 lose to a more seasoned team that had experienced. And then they made it back 2 years later and they won it all. Who's to say that the Mavericks wouldn't have done the same? And that's just one. Then maybe Luka gets another, maybe not back to back, but maybe he gets 2 in 5 years or even 2 in 10 years. Anthony Davis is going to be retired in 10 years. Luka Doncic is still going to be playing basketball. Just doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me still to this day. But, like Nico Harrison said, I guess he'll be proven right or wrong. But we'll just have to wait and see on that as we continue here on episode number 134 of Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Jaevon Tutty. Guys, now it's time for my heart to break even more because De'Aaron Fox was officially traded away from the Sacramento Kings yesterday, being Sunday night, as Jaevon puts his flashlight up in the air to memorialize the career of De'Aaron Fox as a Sacramento King. So De'Aaron Fox gets to go exactly where he wants. He is now paired up with a generational talent. If it's not Luka, it'll be Wemby when they retire as the greatest European player of all time. And who knows how far Wemby will get as far as his ceiling, because he's already arguably the best defensive player in the NBA. He's going to continue to get better offensively. Now he has a bona fide all-star as his pick and roll partner. De'Aaron arguably should have been a multiple-time all-star at this point, but he played in Sacramento, and the NBA hates Sacramento. That's why Domantas Sabonis didn't make the all-star team. Like the all-star, yeah, and the all-star starters came out this past week. We're not even going to talk about that today because we don't have time. But Domantas Sabonis got snubbed again, and we could get into that maybe ahead of the all-star game in a couple weeks. But anyways, the full trade was the Spurs acquired De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings acquired Zach LaVine, City Sissoko, 3 first-round picks, 2025 Charlotte, 2027 San Antonio, and 2031 Minnesota. 3 second-round picks, 2025 Chicago, 2028 Denver, and the Kings got their own 2028 pick back from the Spurs, and that's the second-round pick. And the Bulls acquired Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter from the Kings, and they got their own 2025 pick back via San Antonio. And so, Kevin, as the fellow Kings fan on this panel, obviously for the audio-only list, not obviously because we have audio-only listeners, but I'm wearing my De'Aaron Fox jersey today just because I'm genuinely sad. I did not want De'Aaron Fox to leaves Sacramento. I wanted him to be a King for life. I thought years ago that De'Aaron Fox would be traded away instead of Tyrese Halliburton. And then they chose to trade away Tyrese Halliburton. So at that point, De'Aaron Fox gets the keys to the team, and he was supposed to be a King forever. Instead, now 2 years later, he is a San Antonio Spur. And so I'm very upset about it. But Kevin, I saw your comment on De'Aaron Fox's goodbye post today when De'Aaron, I will say that De'Aaron had a typo within the first sentence, and I'm like, no one could have proofread this for you. Come on. But Kevin, I saw you say you should have left this one in the draft. So it seems like you're not that upset about De'Aaron Fox being gone from Sacramento. I know you mentioned that the Kings might have just built the next Spurs dynasty, but how are you feeling about this as a Sacramento Kings fan and the overall return?
So Toddy and I have been talking about De'Aaron Fox trades for about
2 months.
A month. 2 months. I knew it was coming. We've seen this. I'm a huge LeBron fan. I saw LeBron leave Cleveland for fucking nothing. I saw Kevin Durant leave OKC for fucking nothing. And I'm not saying De'Aaron Fox is LeBron and Kevin Durant. All I'm saying is when you're an NBA organization, you have to trade your asset while it's still a business. You have to trade your asset while they have the most boom, while they have the most noise around them. And that is De'Aaron Fox now. When he didn't want to sign in the offseason, Toddy sent it to me and I said, look, he's going to Houston. I was wrong team in Houston, wrong team in Dallas. But
Texas.
All the analogy, being from there, all that still lines up. But I would have rathered us go down as a organization that doesn't like players. You can't trust them. And I would have traded De'Aaron Fox at the highest fucking bidder. Have their ass trade him to San Antonio. Because I was telling Toddy, I'm down to send him to Houston where he's from because it's going to be a win-win. As long as this business transactional is win-win, I'm all in. But for us to get a lottery protected first from Charlotte, a 2027 pick from the Spurs, which if Shaun was here, I'm sure he'd agree. We all think the Spurs will be pretty good, right? In a couple years? Bad pick. So now, we talked about sixth graders. If you guys been along for this ride for a while, there is a sixth grader that's waiting to hear his name called by the Sacramento Kings, baby. So he's coming aboard, but for the Sacramento Kings to get Zach LaVine, City CSGO, and those 3 first-round picks, like I said, Toddy, I would have rather sent him to the highest bidder because the San Antonio Spurs have way better assets, and this is a business. You trade our best asset for their worst assets. How is this a good trade? So, not only did we get their horrible picks, they have the Atlanta Hawks unprotected picks for the next 3 seasons. 3 seasons. And you give us a lottery protected Charlotte pick? Fuck that. You know what? That's picks, Kevin. They want to keep their picks. Fine by me. We couldn't get Stephon Castle, 20 years old, rookie deal, averaging 12, 4, and 3. Couldn't get Devin Vassell, 24 years old, 16 points, 4 boards, 3 assists. Just got a fresh, cheap deal. Long, cheap deal. You know what? We couldn't get Jeremy Sohan, 21 years old, averaging 12 and 8. Fuck it. We would have taken Keldon Johnson. You can throw him in there. He's averaging 16 and 6. You know, there's so many other pieces that we could have gotten out of this trade. And for us to get Zach LaVine says one thing and one thing only. The Chicago Bulls saved the San Antonio Spurs from gutting themselves. If we don't get Zach LaVine, they have to gut their team. And I think even with Zach LaVine, we could have got one of those picks. Like, that unprotected first does nothing for us. No one here thinks the Charlotte Hornets are about to go on a run to make their pick not be top 14. So we essentially got worse from trading our franchise player. And that's what I was hoping we didn't do. And this was no longer something that benefits both sides because these picks suck and no one thinks Zach LaVine's better than De'Aaron Fox, right? So we got worse. We now have no point guard. Now all the rumors about Devin Carter have to go off the toilet because he has to play. He has to play. Colby Jones has to play. We have all these guys. There's a lot of questions around the Kings. If this was the NLBO, if this was going to be the end all be all, I would have rather us just trade Fox early and keep Mike Brown, because at least we had a foundation. We had a coach of the year. We had the light to beam. We had the movement. For Kings fans, Toddy doesn't get it, but Shaun and I were 2 years ago. We were living the dream. I was at the game where they clinched the drought. It was over.
He was on TV.
Light the beam. Like
I was at that first playoff game, and it was magical. And then I went to Game 4 in San Francisco when Harrison Barnes missed the three that could have put them up 3-1. Like even after they lost that playoff series, like I thought condolences, but I thought that the Kings were finally turning a corner, and as you said, Kevin, there was a foundation. And to be here 2 years later and to have one playoff appearance, 2 winning seasons, like this is why I was so upset with them firing Mike Brown. And I didn't mean to jump in on your thoughts here, Kevin, but it's just so upsetting to be a Sacramento Kings fan. I mean, Toddy said regarding the picks that the Kings got in our Stats Over Politics Fantasy Football group chat. Toddy said, I believe you said, and I quote, y'all got fucked or something like that. And I said, being a Kings fan is a constant cycle of getting fucked. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate to see this play out the way it did. I love De'Aaron, don't get me wrong. But like I said, the Dallas Mavericks said, fuck Luka. We're doing what's best for us. And looking at it 2020, I would have rather us say the same thing. And like Shaun, you weren't here. I say send his ass to Utah and have them send it to Spurs. Like, have it be their problem to deal with. Like,
I heard it.
This doesn't benefit us at all. So I'm just very frustrated. And yes, Zach LaVine's having the best year of his career, and he's being healthy, and they still were trying to trade him for the past 16 months. So all that being said, they didn't want him on his team. So we'll see. But
yep.
I'm hoping we can turn it around and do something, but we don't even have our own first. And now we're basically not going to have a first-round pick at all. So all this for what?
Yeah, Toddy, as Kevin was saying, Zach LaVine is having quite a bounce back year this season because he's right up there with his career averages. He's actually shooting the best percentage from the field that he has had since his breakout season in the 2021 season. He's shooting 51% from the field, and he's shooting the best from 3-point range in his entire career. He's shooting 45% from 3 right now, averaging 24 points a game. And this is all after last year where he only played 25 games. He's played 42 thus far this season. And in those 42 games, 24 points a game, 51% from the field, and 45% from 3. 45% from 3 is really, really good. And so, Toddy, you for the audio-only listeners, Toddy had his hands up in pure Drewski fashion. And he when I was emphasizing those stats, Toddy's hands started going back and forth like he was Jey Uso with the yeet chant. But anyways, that the noise that you heard is he accidentally knocked over his microphone. But Toddy, as our unbiased panelist when it comes to this trade, just what do you think about what the Kings got with the overall return and also the future of the Sacramento Kings? Because obviously Wemby and Fox is going to be a lethal combination, but where do the Kings go from here? And are you satisfied with the return that they got?
Look, De'Aaron Fox, 7 years, got drafted here, been here in his career, All-NBA, one-time All-NBA. Was he third-team All-NBA or second? Third. Okay, made the playoffs. First playoff game had, 50 in his first playoff game? Or close to 50. I'm not sure if it was.
Yeah, he was close to it. He had I think he was 42.
40 something. Yeah. So that was 2 years ago. Yeah, Mike Brown winning coach of the year, De'Aaron clutch player of the year, the Vivek God. executive of the year, or was it Monty McNair? McNair
Monty
Yeah.
McNair. Yeah.
So in a 2-year time frame, you go from that to missing the playoffs, to firing your coach, to trading your all NBA, all-star, homegrown draft pick from 2016, I believe that was. I don't like the capital that was gotten back. A bunch of second-round picks, a bunch of fugazi first-round picks. A lot of people really don't know that the Charlotte pick is protected 1 through 14. People have no idea that. Like, we got Charlotte's first-round pick. That was kind of me and Kevin. We were going back and forth on the compensation. Until I actually read into it, I was like, "Oh, that first-round pick that you got from Charlotte, it's protected." So, get all of that being said, you get a guy in Zach LaVine. Shaun was pointing out all the numbers. He's averaging close to his career. He's shooting 50% from the field and 44% from three. Now, I ain't no damn mathematician, but I think that's better than De'Aaron Fox. Now, I'm not saying that he is better than De'Aaron Fox.
No.
I am saying it's not going to be as bad as you think. I think going forward, I feel like in the short term, you guys will look really, really good. Like on Wednesday when he makes a debut, I'm taking Kings money line. I'm saying that right now. Home game, LaVine. Last time LaVine and DeRozan, they were teammates. All-star, made the playoffs. Y'all remember that series that he had against the Bucks before I believe they won 1 or 2 games in that series, but LaVine had gotten hurt in that series, and that kind of just derailed everything, and then it was over from then. But if you kind of watch that series, I think it was like 3 years ago, when Chicago was playing against Milwaukee, they were kind of giving Milwaukee a run for their money. I think in the short term, you guys will look very good and kind of be one of those teams that like, oh, Sacramento, what do they kind of got going on over there? Been following D'Lo and KC a lot because D'Lo's been the guy, really. If you look at all of the sourcing, it always says ESPN 1320. That's D'Lo.
D'Lo. Well, I will say
and James Ham, I'll say too.
Yes,
those two guys are on it as far as anything about this trade. I've been kind of keeping up with them to see kind of what the ins and outs have been, but I think it could work. A lot of scoring. I worry about your defense, and I don't think McNair's done. I think the Kings are going to try and look out and try to see if they can get a backup point guard, probably some wing depth, and perhaps look for another big. You saw the Kings were able to put up points on their win against the Timberwolves. Now, you guys got to win. Got a W. Now, I think this is something that long term you're going to look over at the other side at the Riverwalk, and you're going to see De'Aaron Fox and Wemby in the playoffs, winning games,
winning championships.
That's where perhaps that as well. And you gave them away, De'Aaron Fox, and Fox was looking just for some help. Like, hey, it's ran its course here. The year that they got to the playoffs, I always kind of go back to this. The Kings Monty McNair did nothing to get better after that Kings playoff run. They were like, oh, well, let's try and run it back. Didn't go as planned. They didn't make the playoffs. And you still kind of go into it with in the next season, and you kind of run into another wall again. Don't really make any moves at the trade deadline. Kind of just run it off, and it's just the same team, essentially. So even going back to when DeMarcus Cousins was here, you were always waiting for him to kind of get somebody else in to, help him out a little bit. Kind of had that run with Isaiah Thomas, Rudy Gay, but they fired the coach. But that kind of just goes back to this is the revolving door of the Kings, firing their coach, kind of stripping their team down and rebuilding. And it's kind of the same cycle over and over and over again. And that's kind of the reality of being a Kings fan. Unfortunately, the fans here are like, if you ask a bunch of people around the league, like Anthony Edwards, one of the top players in the league, one of his favorite places he loves playing is in Sacramento. because he loves the environment. And it just feels like, because out here, this is basically the only team that they have out here. So it's like, that's why everybody eat, breathes, and shits Kings basketball.
Besides Toddy.
So, besides me. But I just think that the environment here, the city, like everybody loves the Kings organization, but the front office seems to be just, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, why are we firing Mike Brown? Like, literally after Mike Brown was fired, me and Kevin were like, he's gone. He's out of there. So I think this was something that was a little bit delayed. Probably should have happened a little bit sooner, but I mean, we're here now. I do think the Luka trade maybe rushed the compensation. Like, the compensation should have been way better than it is, to be honest. If we're, like Kev was saying, there's a bunch of unpredicted first that the Hawks have. They could have got the Spurs pick. I mean, there's just a bunch of picks that, if you kind of look at it, they really just got a bunch of second round picks when it's all said and done. So, and they got Zach LaVine, and the Kings don't have a first round pick. Like, the Kings don't even have control of their first round pick next year.
Yeah, it's in Atlanta.
So, Atlanta has that pick. So it's like, going into it, it's like, okay, how are we going to build for the future? What future? Zach LaVine's our future. DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray. That's the future. And you're like, I'm looking at the Spurs. I'm looking at all these other teams that got just a shit. Like, OKC has a shit ton of picks, and they're number 1 in the Western Conference.
Yep. It really.
What do the Kings have to show for it? They don't really have any picks.
Zach LaVine.
They don't really have anything to show for the future. So I understand Kevin's frustration, and he's like, "Fuck right now," is what Kevin is saying. Like, what are we going to look like in the next 5 years? And I think you guys are kind of in a similar situation to, I don't know if you guys remember that Kobe Bryant, like, last couple of years when Kobe was hurt. And it was like a bunch of Robert Sacres, and you got Turiaf.
That was literally the only time that I hated the Warriors more than the Lakers, because the Lakers were down so bad and the Warriors were on top of the world.
This is what Kevin dreads. He doesn't want to look like that in the next couple of years and not have anything to show for it. You could be you're so bad and you don't have picks. You're just gonna be bad. Like, I don't know, man. And then, I mean, you look at the first round pick that the Timberwolves had. That's all the way in 2031. Like Kevin was saying, there's a sixth grader out there waiting to get his name called. So I think the Kings are going to look good in the short term, but in the long term, it's kind of like, what are we going to look like? Does Monty McNair keep his job? Like,
probably not.
Is he getting fired after this season? Like, what has to happen for him to be able to keep his job?
The Kings make the playoffs, not the play-in. They make the playoffs. I think that's the only.
So he's fired after this year. He's gone.
Yeah,
probably.
Gotta be.
Yeah. I mean,
so if he's gone, how would you would have to strip this entire team down? Like, you'd have to trade like your key pieces. Like, Sabonis probably got to go. Like, there's a bunch of how do you got to strip this team down basically at some point in time.
Yeah, exactly. And yep. And so the thing about the Charlotte first round pick in 2025 is right now Charlotte is 7.5 games out of the 10 spot in the East. So they're 7.5 games out of making it into the play-in. So usually Toddy has been recording podcasts with me now for 4 going on 5 years. And so he knows very well, and Kevin, I'm sure you know well enough at this point as well, because we've been together for 2 years, is that when it comes to the Kings, I'm usually Mr. Pessimism. I am pessimistic Shaun when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, and it's because I've been hurt so many times over the years. And I will say, number one, I'm heartbroken when it comes to De'Aaron Fox no longer being a Sacramento King. When De'Aaron officially got traded, or when D'Lo and KC both said yesterday around 5 o'clock, turn on your notifications, like basically it's about to happen and the finality of it set in. I hadn't felt that way since DeMarcus Cousins was traded. And I was really upset when Tyrese Halliburton was dealt. But Tyrese was in his second year with the Kings and in the NBA. De'Aaron Fox, he's been here for 8 years. He immersed himself in the community. His wife, Risay, who he met while he was a Sacramento King. Like this, okay, so I'm only going to mention this because De'Aaron Fox is no longer a King. But my ex-girlfriend from high school, who I dated for 2.5 years, when I was still dating her in 2017, De'Aaron Fox shot his shot at her little sister. Like he was trying to get at her. And she thought it was the biggest deal ever. She's like, "Oh, look who slid in my DMs." That's who De'Aaron Fox was, a boy when he came to Sacramento. He is now a man. He has a wife and a son and another baby on the way. He met his wife, Risay, while he was in Sacramento, and she immersed herself within the Sacramento community. And I'm just so grateful for the Fox family, and I really thought that he would be here for his whole career. And so I'm really upset, but thank you to De'Aaron Fox. I'll just start by saying that. That's why I wore my Fox jersey today, because I'm just sad about it, man. Like I'm genuinely sad. I'm sad that I had to go this way. Kevin, I understand your point of trading him to whoever the highest bidder is, and he can find his way to San Antonio or Houston from there. But you know, when a player gives everything to a franchise like he did, playing through injuries, night in, night out, he signed that. He didn't sign the latest Supermax offer, but he did sign one of them. He signed that Supermax in 2020, and so he committed. And then they finally found something that worked, and the Kings responded by firing the guy who broke your playoff drought, who had, in 2 seasons, he had 2 winning seasons. Yeah, they started this year 13-19 or whatever it was when Mike Brown got fired. That was the biggest head scratcher to me, and just, I mean, that was the catalyst, as you guys already said, to De'Aaron Fox ultimately having the finality of he didn't want to be here anymore. And I'm just really upset about it. But just to circle back to what I was saying about my optimism versus my pessimism, is I'm actually feeling optimistic about this, because yes, and I think maybe it's because I'm just so bad when it comes to De'Aaron no longer being around. I could either spiral down further, or I could try to look at it with the glass half full rather than half empty. As I said, that Charlotte pick is looking like it's going to convert into a second round pick, but there's still plenty of season left. There's 7.5 games out of the play-in, and LaMelo could go on a run, and he could will his team to the play-in. And I know that the last time they made the play-in, from what I could recall, they got the brakes beat off of them by the Indiana Pacers. But stranger things have happened. That's all I'm saying. And so I'm just going to hope that somehow Charlotte finds a way to get in there. I'm sure now that the Kings of all teams have their pick, they're going to probably try to tank even harder, because that's just kind of Kang's luck. But I'm going to try to be optimistic. And I think the reason why I feel so optimistic is because I was so pessimistic about what the Kings were going to get in return for De'Aaron Fox. I thought it was going to be much worse. I'm not the biggest fan of Zach LaVine. When the Kings tried to sign him in 2018 it was, I wasn't a fan of it. He is an elite scorer, but he's extremely lacking on the defensive end. Like, he doesn't really do too much beyond being a scorer. And so it's not great. But for them to get a former All-Star in return, and a former All-Star that, yeah, they may have just been a perennial play-in team when he was teamed up with DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. DeMar DeRozan welcomed Zach LaVine to Sacramento. Maybe it's just all for show and for social media. But to me, I see that as DeMar's happy to have Zach LaVine here in Sacramento with him, which helps the team chemistry. And we saw them win tonight in Minnesota, Zach LaVine's former home. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But
last time DeMar and Zach LaVine were on the same team, made the playoffs.
They did. They did.
What else they do?
It was in the East. So you got to take it with a grain of salt.
Make the playoffs. We've done that too.
I mean, as Kings fans, though, like that is amazing for us because we've been down
Not
bad
anymore,
for so long.
Shaun. Like Toddy
Yeah.
bashed us for not making any moves. Toddy, you understand this. You know ball. We lost 2 less games. Who would have thought the West was gonna fucking blow up? We lost 2. We were the 3 seed. Lost 2 less games, and we're a play-in team. Who would have thought, Toddy? Who could we have brought in? Superman? We didn't think that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I think what always happens is the Kings panic and fire somebody.
Indeed.
Panic, fire, you're gone. Why would you do that? Oh, why would you fire Dave Yeager? Oh, why would you fire Mike Malone? Why would you fire Mike Brown?
Well, also
get a new GM.
Well, also, Jaevon, what's the root of all that? Where does it all lead back to?
Ownership. Sell the team?
Yeah.
You just need a new owner? You guys need a new owner. I mean, shit. You guys had the Maloofs. You guys
at this point,
Vivek, like what?
At this point, like all the goodwill that Vivek garnered from saving the team, it's running out. It really is running out because I'm grateful to have a team, but man, when they just are what they are, and you finally have something that works and you have a guy in charge that is trying to save his own job. And so he's like, hey, let me fire the coach so then I don't get fired first. It's just such a head scratcher, and it's just so hard being a Sacramento Kings fan. I'm going to try to be optimistic about it. 3 firsts, cool. Even though one of them's lottery protected, 3 seconds. Hey, I saw that the Bulls are looking. Maybe they could just be the Sacramento Bulls and get Lonzo Ball for a 2nd round pick. I guess. Or maybe.
Are you happy with that 27 Spurs pick, Shaun?
Not necessarily, because like you said, there's all the unprotected Atlanta picks. Like we kept talking about, like, is it going to be Vassell, or is it going to be Stephon Castle? And it ended up with neither. Not even Jeremy Sohan, as Kevin covered earlier. And
one of them picks could have been AJ DeBonsa.
Cooper Flag. Ace Bay.
Shout out as well to Kevin's sister, Alex, who says, sell the Kings, bring back the Monarchs. And Alex, I'm really glad that you said that, because part of the goodwill that's been lost with me when it comes to Vivek is he said when he acquired the Kings that he was going to work on bringing back the Monarchs. And that never came to fruition. He never even tried, as the WNBA continues to expand. And so that I never forgot that. I never forgot that he said he was going to bring back the Monarchs and never really tried to do so. And like you said, Jaevon,
been the owner
since 2013, so 12 years now. It's been a long time. And shout out to Gary's brother Jesse, who said, "At least the beam is lit today." LOL. Woohoo! Hey man, I mean, I love the positivity, Jesse. I appreciate that. And so that does it when it comes to talking
Malik
about
26. DeRozan at 33.
DeRozan went off, man.
Hooping.
Kevin is so over it.
So over it, Shaun. I can't believe this is how it all played out. I would have rathered us, like, because Shaun, you mentioned how much we gave to him. I would have rathered us, like I said, just got out of the asshole organization and just do what's best for us.
Yeah,
it's a business. We did all that for him, and he still left. You know what I mean?
So I mean, that's what the Mavericks did. Luka literally bought a $15 million house last week, and they told him nothing. Peace out. See you later.
See ya.
And so with that, guys, now it's time to get to one of our recurring segments, and then we'll have another right after, and then we'll get out of here by previewing the Super Bowl. But I figure we'll just keep with the basketball theme for now, and then we'll close things out with our Super Bowl preview. So you hear that music, you know what that means. It's time for Shaun's Pop Quiz. And Jaevon is currently our leader of Shaun's Pop Quiz, as he is currently ahead of Kevin 20-13. And as we know, Kevin was the winner of season 1 of Shaun's Pop Quiz. Jaevon was the winner of season 2. And now it is to be determined who is the winner of season 3. And I did put on my own notes that season 3 goes till episode 151. So we still got 17 more episodes for Kevin to make up ground. But right now, Toddy is ahead of him by 7 points. Guys, only 1 point to pick up this week because I only got one question for you. And it is regarding LeBron James. As this week's Shaun's Pop Quiz.
Don't even worry about it, Toddy. Don't even worry about it.
So, Shaun's Pop Quiz, LeBron James edition. So, here we go. Because LeBron James on Saturday night, the last Laker game in the pre-Luka Doncic era, LeBron had 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. Who, and because this is just one question, it's a toss-up, I'm keeping my eyes peeled on the screen. But only raise your hand if you actually know. No, Toddy, you only raise your hand if you actually know the answer.
You're so back. I thought we were doing the same thing. I was like...
I picked up on what you guys have been doing, so I'm like, only raise your hand if you actually have a legitimate guess, not just because you want to go first.
This is starting to get ridiculous.
I was about to say, that's why I didn't even get a chance to read the questions. Tony's like, hey, and Kevin, you were thinking the same thing. All right, so LeBron had against the Knicks in New York at MSG. LeBron had 33 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists. As LeBron said on Saturday night, this is 40. Just the greatness continues. The question is, who was the last player to have 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists at Madison Square Garden? Kevin, I see you. Go ahead.
The Joker?
And then now, that is incorrect. We will now alternate back and forth. So, Toddy, do you have a guess?
Jalen Brunson.
Nope, that is incorrect.
Oh, you
Is
said
it an away team?
It is an away team. That is correct. And so
So
this player
is 33 points, 11 and 11.
Giannis.
Yep.
It's
33, 11, and 12. Toddy, that is incorrect.
Damn
At
it.
this point we'll just have a free for all, and I'm so we don't guess every single act. Wait, say that again, Kevin.
Would we guess the person? Like,
For sure. Because
cool.
you know what, I got 2 hints I can give you guys, and I'll give you the lesser one first, because when I give you the second hint, you're gonna probably nail it right away. So you already asked, is it an away player? Yes, it was an away player. But this is an older player, as in he played in the 60s.
Steph Curry.
No, not even Del Curry played in the 60s.
Will?
Nope, that is incorrect, but you're getting around there,
Dr.
Kevin.
J, Jerry West, the 60s, fucking Plumber 1 and Plumber 2.
You said he played in the Bill Russell?
No, but you guys are getting right around it.
Kevin McHale?
Nope. Yeah, Kevin McHale played in the 80s.
Wow.
Damn.
All right, well, all right, so no. Okay.
Are we warm?
Yes, you're like right around that. You're right around that territory.
Bob Cousy.
Kevin, you were the closest when you said Wilt Chamberlain, and Bob Cousy is not correct. But that was a good guess.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, he started playing in the 70s.
When he did it, was he in the East or West?
East, 1965.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah.
George Gervin?
I don't know. Give us a second hint.
All right, second hint. I feel like this should give it away. At least this would give it away for me. When you think of triple doubles, you think of this man, and it's not Russell Westbrook because. Oh, well, Kevin, it was a free for all at that point. Ding, ding, ding. Oscar Robertson is correct.
Wow.
So
this is getting ridiculous. I hope you guys are watching this. Like Boogie said, this is getting ridiculous.
It had only happened 3 times in NBA history where a player recorded at least 33 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists at Madison Square Garden. LeBron did it on Saturday night with 33, 11, and 12. Oscar Robertson did it most recently on January 5th, 1965.
That was the last time it happened?
Yes.
Damn.
He had this, like, not just a triple-double, but at least 33 points, at least 11 rebounds, and at least 12 assists. And so Oscar Robertson, January 5th, 1965, had 37 points, 11 rebounds, and 15 assists. The only other player to do it was Oscar Robertson, who in 1963, 35, 15, and 14. So respect the big O, Oscar Robertson. So Toddy picks up a point. Now Toddy has 21 on the board. He widens his gap over Kevin. Kevin, I thought you had that one locked up. It was the LeBron James edition, but maybe I couldn't have called it Oscar Robertson edition because then that would have just given away
Maybe
the
Kev
answer.
just doesn't know ball.
No, I wouldn't say that. You got to give yourself some more credit. I mean, it was 1965 after all, and so that was 60 years ago. Got to give yourself more credit. But Kevin, now it's time for our other favorite recurring segment, one of our favorite recurring segments, along with Factor Cap and Vonnie's Hotline. But if you could, it's time for this or that.
So this week we have Toddy, you're muted, brother. So we have a new duo in the NBA. So I felt like it was only right that we do a this or that Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox edition.
Oh my, Kevin, we ain't even played a game yet.
Hey, gotta get the juices flowing. So this or that Victor Wembanyama and De'Aaron Fox. First name up, John Morant and Jaren Jackson.
Fox and Wembanyama.
Fox and Wemby.
Give me Fox Wemby. Next name, Kyrie and Anthony Davis.
Fox Wemby.
I like that.
Give me Kyrie and AD. Give me Kyrie and AD.
If we're talking today, I'll take Fox and Wemby. Give me Kyrie and AD 2, 3 to 5 years ago. Today, Fox and Wemby.
Next name, Jalen Brunson and Cat.
Fox and Wemby. Dude, like
I'm gonna say Brunson and Cat right now because
you gotta go Brunson and Cat.
Brunson and
I feel
Brunson is a guy in the playoffs. Turns it all the way.
So. I think so highly of Fox and Wemby that it may be a clean sweep for me, just like it was last week with Kevin and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Next name, Shea and Chet.
Shea and Chet.
Ooh, Fox and Wemby. Chet's not healthy.
This is when I was making this list. I was like, all right, a lot of these teams or a lot of these dudes, you're gonna go because of Wemby. But with this, you have Shea, you have the MVP, you got to go with Shea. So I'm going to go Shea and Chet as well.
Yeah, Wemby's definitely the anchor.
Jalen Green and Alfred Sengun.
Fox and Wemby.
Fox and Wemby.
I love Jay, and I'm a JG guy.
Yeah,
last
always
name,
have been.
Dame and Giannis.
Dame and Giannis.
Oh, this is the toughest one for me. This is crazy. It's not Dame. Dame's not Portland.
Dame's not Dame no more, bro. I'm going Fox.
Yeah, Fox and Wemby. If it was Portland Dame and Giannis, then yeah.
Giannis, multiple-time MVP. Dame is an all-star still.
But Dame's not Portland Dame. It's not Dame time no more. It's just time.
How much is Damian? Let me.
I mean, he's an all-star. Don't get me wrong, but I'm taking Fox and Wemby. I know Giannis has the accolades. He has the ring. Victor Wembanyama is a generational talent. Damn. And I'm willing to bet that Fox is better than Dame today.
Is he?
Yeah, without a doubt.
He is. He's averaging 25 and 7.
So they average similar numbers, but
similar numbers.
Yeah. The Kings have more mouths to feed. It's just Dame and Giannis over there.
It's Fox time at this point.
I don't know.
Shaun, are you taking Dame over Fox?
Right now, no, not anymore. 2 years ago, yeah.
Are you, Toddy? Are you still taking Dame over Fox?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
I also just it took me.
He just does it year in and year out. He's too consistent for me.
So it took me
obviously like upside, like obviously, going forward, you would take Fox. I'm just right now, give me Dame. It
took me nearly 80 minutes to realize the irony, the fact that the only De'Aaron Fox jersey I own was the black alternate jersey, and now he's.
Can I ask you a question? Is Fox getting his jersey retired?
No. Well, does DeMarcus Cousins get his jersey retired?
He should have his jersey.
He should, but they won't.
He should.
Is Chris Webber? Does his jersey retired? Is his jersey retired?
Yeah,
if they retire Boogie, I wouldn't be surprised if they retire Fox. But they go.
Weber does have his jersey retired. I mean, the biggest thing is like, are you going to go a 30-year gap until you retire another jersey? Because, I mean, who would be the next guy to get his jersey retired?
It would be Boogie.
No, he's talking about like our next guy.
Yeah. Like
Zach
I'm
LaVine?
talking
Devin
about
Carter, baby.
Zach LaVine. Damn.
Well, guys, now it's time to close things out with our Super Bowl 59 preview.
Oh yeah,
And
I forgot.
Kevin, I know that you are excited, and therefore, let's hit the music because the Birds are back in the Super Bowl. And so, Super Bowl
What number is
59.
this? I don't know Roman numerals.
This is 59.
59.
There we go.
The
LIX.
Chiefs versus the Eagles. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch those Eagles fly, Kevin. This is your squad, so we'll toss it to you first. We know our reoccurring guest, Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV, was... Sorry, I got distracted by the music. Now I got to turn it off, otherwise it's just going to keep going and going and going. So we know that our favorite recurring guest, Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV, is picking his Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Kevin, I would imagine you would do the same. But what's your thoughts and analysis behind it, and who do you got winning Super Bowl MVP if the Eagles were to win it all?
The one and only Jalen Hurts, but we'll get onto that later on. People are saying, Kevin, why are you so confident? You weren't confident. You weren't this confident the first go round. And you know what I said to them? I said, you're damn right. 2022, we stumbled into the championship. You know, going into the season,
Sure did stumble.
we have two
I wonder why.
We have 2 first-round picks. Jalen's on a contract year. Or we're going to trade up for a quarterback. We're going to trade these picks away and get a quarterback. What are we going to do? Jalen Hurts becomes the MVP. If he doesn't get hurt, he wins the MVP. So he went from a question mark to the MVP, and now we're in the Super Bowl. Right? No one expected us to be here. So we lose. But this time, this 2024-25 team, this is all we talked about. I've been saying this for months. It was Super Bowl or bust. Not only do we go and add guys like Quinyon Mitchell, Saquon Barkley, we bring in Vic Fangio, Cooper DeJean, and this defense brings light to this team. Everyone says, Kevin, you were third most sacks in NFL history that year. How is this defense better? I said, it's not just Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. It's Nakobe Dean. It's Zach Bond. It's Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith. We still have Josh Sweat. We have rookies like Jackson Hunt coming in making plays. This team hasn't turned the ball over once in the playoffs. That was Jalen's problem in the Super Bowl. If we don't fumble that, we win the game. We forced 10 turnovers to force an R0. Jalen Hurts is that guy now. He has put himself on a list of guys that start multiple Super Bowls before 27. You have guys like Big Ben, Hall of Famer, Tom Brady, the GOAT, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes. You can't finish that list without the one and only Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is playing top-notch football for us. When you wanted him to throw it, Toddy, he threw it. You know, it's either can he do it? He's being carried. He's doing this. Why do I think he's going to be Super Bowl MVP? Because I think in my cards, Spags is sitting back and saying, look, you're going to have to throw, and you're going to have to beat us. And he's going to take over and beat them. I think Jalen Hurts, people take every other quarterback over Jalen Hurts, and he still broke the 33-year curse of once you lose a Super Bowl, you don't get to go back. We're still waiting on guys like Brock Purdy to get back. You know, Aaron Rodgers, you know, a lot of guys that, you know, just haven't gotten back. You know, the list goes on, and I'm sorry to take shots at you guys, but this defense is playing phenomenal. Like I said, we had 10 turnovers this year. And when the Kobe team goes down, my phone goes off and it's Toddy. The Kobe Dean goes down, Kevin. What's going to happen? I said, hey, man, Oren Burks, we're fine.
He's played for us. You're
20
welcome.
tackles, 11 stops, 2 forced fumbles, and a sack, only allowing 45 yards in coverage. All season long, this defense has been next man up mentality. I don't think this game's going to be close. I think we're going to come in here and we're going to punch them in the mouth. He is 2-8 when the time to the defense gets to him is under 3.38 seconds. We have the game plan. We got to get to him. And this Chiefs offense doesn't have Rashee Rice, who killed us in the Super Bowl. And I know Toddy's going to say it. What about Juju? He has 67 yards. No one gives a damn about Juju.
What about D-Hop?
Who?
DeAndre Hopkins, a future Hall of Famer?
Future for what he did not in a Kansas City jersey, right?
Because he's been there half a season.
He could have been there for 4. The next 4 years, and we're still going to know him for what he used to do.
All right.
Every week in and week out, Toddy calls me, Kev, what's going to happen? I said, I don't fear their wide receiver 2 because their wide receiver 1 is not going to show up. Quinton Mobe, Cooper DeJean, Darius Slay. This is one of the best secondaries in football. I get it. Vic Fangio is 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes.
Tough.
Those games, his offenses couldn't score more than 15 points one time. And I'm going to end it on this. You know, the Chiefs have this record, longest in the league, 18 straight playoff games without allowing a 100-yard rusher. Joe Mixon, 18 carries, 88 yards. James Cook, 13 carries, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. If Joe Mixon ran for 5 yards a carry and James Cook ran for 6.5 a carry against this Chiefs defense, what in the hell do you think Saquon Barkley and the best offensive line in football is going to run for him? So you got to pick your poison. Either you load the box and tell us to throw it, or you let us run the ball all day. We didn't have that run game. I don't know if you guys don't remember this. We had to bench Miles Sanders in the Super Bowl. The lights got too bright. We don't have to worry about that with Saquon.
All right, Toddy. Who do you got in this one? Chiefs versus Eagles, part 2.
It's
and also, I'm sorry. Also, who is your Super Bowl MVP?
I'm a gambler.
He's a gambling man.
Fuck your gambling.
Chiefs are gonna win. I'm just like, I've seen it too many times. Like, it's the only person that he lost to in the Super Bowl is calling games now. His name is like cemented in football history. It's just like.
And who did he lose to once upon a time? What team?
He lost to.
They can share that.
Okay.
They can both have that as common coming Monday.
Okay. I do agree with Kevin. They have shitload of talent on defense. Love their secondary. If you would have asked me a couple of years ago, what do the Eagles need to get better at? It's their secondary. I feel like they've addressed that situation. I think Kevin's sleeping on their receiving core. I think Hollywood Brown's going to be making plays. I think we'll see guys like Juju Smith get involved. Travis Kelce's going to have a hell of a game. I thought Kareem Hunt has been playing really well. Spags is a magician on the defensive end of the ball. I do think Andy and Pat always figure it out. It's not a coincidence that they're undefeated when the games are close. When they're like one score games, they're undefeated. Kevin, your team's you have the better team. Yes, you have the better team. I'm going to give that to you. Saquon, AJ, Devontae. Who's going to guard this person? Who's going to guard that person? How do we lose this game? The answer is simple. Patrick Mahomes. I don't
he tackles?
I don't
he
know.
He blocks?
He
catches the football?
Kevin likes stats. When under a touchdown, when under a 3-point dog, Patrick Mahomes is undefeated, 7-0. I don't know what you want me to do, Kevin. We've seen it too much. Kevin will agree with me. What advantage do the Chiefs have over the Eagles? Coach and quarterback. Very two important things, especially going into a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, last time they played against each other. Who was the better quarterback, Kevin, last time they played?
Jalen Hurts.
Who won?
Jalen Hurts.
No, he clearly lost.
Oh, so we're forgetting the other time we played the Chiefs. You said last time we played.
This is what Kevin always
said last time we played.
This is very
why
selective.
when
I want you guys to listen
yeah.
to Kevin. Listen to him.
What did he say, Shaun? Last time they
Listen to
played.
Kevin,
That's what he
guys.
said. No,
He was, but
in
he
a
was
court of
implying.
law, I get to answer that way, and I'm not lying.
But he was implying that we were
Kevin
talking
knows.
about the Super Bowl.
Kevin knows.
Because
Last
Kevin in
time
every
in the
and
he knows.
sorry, Toddy, go ahead.
He knows what it is. Kevin knows what he's going up against. He can't show his. He can't be like vulnerable. He can't do it. There's no way in hell Kevin's going to show. He can't do it. He knows. He knows what he's up against. It's Patrick Mahomes. Kevin, similar situation last year. Our team was way better than the Chiefs. Better at D-line, receiving core, defense. What do they have that's better? Coach and quarterback. They win in double overtime. I mean, even going back to when you guys played them in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Eagles were winning that game. I think they were up at halftime, if I'm not mistaken, by double
We were
digits.
up all the way through.
Patrick Mahomes just figures out ways to win. I can't explain it. I don't know. The Chiefs, I'm putting money on the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Eagles are the better team. But I think it's Patrick Mahomes, man. He figures out these ways to just, I don't know. He figures out ways that I just can't explain. Like even in they weren't even supposed to make it to the Super Bowl last year, and they went on the road and did it. I mean, it's just, I think he's going to figure out to get guys like Hollywood Brown the ball, or he's going to get DeAndre Hopkins. You think DeAndre Hopkins ain't going to show his ass? He's been waiting for this his whole career. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a hell of a game. I will tell you that. It's going to be a really, really good game. And I'm excited to watch. Son's birthday party is the exact same day, so I will be. There will be
a great gift.
I will be in attendance.
So right. let's play. I know we're short on time. Let's just play a quick game. So he said I'm underrating the receiving corps. So we're gonna do the Chiefs receiving corps as a whole, all of them, versus these guys that Quinyon Mitchell has held to under 35 yards, and you let me know which one you're taking.
He can only guard one guy.
Hold on. You said I'm underrating them, so. Are we taking the Chief receiving core or Christian Watson?
I don't understand your question.
Which one is better? The receiving core as a whole or Christian Watson?
Well,
Christian Watson can't stay healthy.
Yes or
Kevin,
no?
Kevin's good at framing this stuff.
If you had to choose, would you rather the whole receiving core, all of them as one, or Christian Watson? Who would you take?
Give me the Chiefs receiving core.
All right. Same thing. Brian Thomas Jr.
Why are we comparing
because guys? He stopped them, and you said I'm underrating this core. They're not better than these guys I can name.
Okay.
So how am I underrating them when they're not better than them? I can keep going. Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb.
Is Quintanamo Bay going to shadow Travis Kelce the whole game?
Doesn't happen.
Who is he guarding?
We got Zach LaVine for that. I mean, shit. Juju plays a lot of reps. They play Gray, their backup tight end.
But our point is that Travis Kelce is the main receiver for the Chiefs. And so you're looking at it strictly on the wide receivers when the biggest weapon for Patrick Mahomes to target is his tight end. And it has been for over 5 years.
Has he not lost a step? Is this the same Travis Kelce we played 2 years ago that stanky leg on us in the end zone?
What were those stats? What were those stats from the AFC Championship game? Because it was 10 days ago or 8 days ago. But didn't Travis Kelce put up numbers in the AFC Championship game 8 days ago?
Travis Kelce having one of his worst seasons as a professional.
I think it was the
Oh, no,
divisional round.
It was the division. Thank you, Toddy. Yeah, because he had a stinker in the AFC Championship game. I was about to look.
That boy
So
Travis gonna show up
dumb.
in the Super Bowl.
2 receptions for 19 yards in the AFC Championship game, but the week prior,
that's the league receiving core. A stinking 19 yards and 2 catches.
But the week prior, Kevin
is licking his chops right now.
7 receptions for 117 yards and a touchdown. Then the week before that, 8 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. So he had a bad game last week. I guess it's time for him to have a
Should I go through his stats in the season, or are we just going to say he had a bad year?
He had an underwhelming year this year, yes.
I mean, for Travis Kelce
very
standards,
underwhelming
yes.
for Travis standard. Very underwhelming.
Yes. So, Toddy,
Brad, he's going to show up.
Toddy, you said that you're putting your money on the Chiefs. Forgive me. You said Patrick Mahomes is the MVP, or was it
Patty?
Patty. All right. So this is tough for me because, as I said last week, when the Chiefs beat the Bills, like I wanted to see the Chiefs lose in the AFC Championship game just because I didn't want to see them have a shot at a three-peat after the trauma that the Chiefs have inflicted on 49ers fans. But they won. And now they're going to play a great team, an absolutely great team in the Eagles. Kevin, you remember earlier in the year, I said that the Eagles defense is elite. And I still believe that. But they're playing the boogeyman. As Jaevon said earlier, he just finds ways to win. Earlier, Kevin, when we were referring to not the last Eagles-Chiefs matchup, but the last time these teams played in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, the Eagles were up the entire game and still lost. Last year, the 49ers were up the entire game against the Chiefs and still lost because of Patrick Mahomes. He is a all-time great. He's on his way to being the greatest of all time. And Jaevon mentioned earlier, DeAndre Hopkins, waiting for this moment his entire career, his entire life. DeAndre Hopkins put out a tweet this morning that I think is worth reading. He said, to all the kids out there living in small towns and small houses with single parents, to the kids who see violence, who see loss, who don't get the resources they deserve, but who still have big dreams, know that I was a kid in your exact shoes, and this week I'm playing in the Super Bowl. Don't give up. Work hard. Keep believing. Where you start doesn't determine where you end up. And that tweet in itself doesn't even hit on the fact. I mean, he alluded to the violence that he watched as a kid when his mom was abused by her boyfriend at the time, and how he threw like chemicals on her, and that's how she ended up blind and burned her skin. And he's always giving her the touchdown ball just so she can feel it when she's sitting in her seats in the end zone. You don't think that he wants her to feel that confetti? I mean, and Kevin might say, yeah, she can feel some green and white confetti. She's blind.
She'll be there, Russell. She'll something to hit her ground. Hey, put some in a Ziploc baggie for her.
Oh, man.
DeAndre Hopkins is an all-time great. He is going to give everything he possibly has in that game. This might be it for Travis Kelce. And so, yeah, he might have had an underwhelming performance in the AFC Championship game, but don't think that he's not going to leave it all out on the line. And we keep hearing about Guantanamo Bay. But, Kevin, who's the guy that when we were doing a this or that earlier this year regarding Derek Stingley Jr., who was the guy that you would not let us move on from because we all said Derek Stingley Jr., but there was a guy on the Chiefs that you just would not let us forget about?
My man, Trent McDuffie.
Thank you. Trent McDuffie is going to likely match up with, if not A.J. Brown, he will match up with Devontae Smith.
Shaun, you read my notes. I was waiting for this to come.
You read my notes.
And so whether if he matches up against A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, I feel like it'll have a similar impact. And Kevin may have the statistics ready to go. That's going to prove my point wrong. But Trent McDuffie is going to match up against one of the Eagles' top 2 guys. That's going to make an impact. Let's not forget, like, this Chiefs defense are no slouches either. And as I said, the Chiefs just always find a way to win. And Kevin, like, I want to see you have, like, for all the shit we talk, all the strays that the 49ers catch. And to be fair, I throw my fair amount of strays at the Eagles. I certainly did last year. But as my friend Kevin and Kaz, even though I've never met him in person, I would like to see both of you happy. I know more Eagles fans than I think I know anyone else from any other fan base other than the 49ers and the Raiders. I know the most Eagles fans other than the two local teams. And so I would like to see you all happy. Maybe be nice to us 49ers fans if you do. Like, be nice to us, please. We need it, especially those of us like Jaevon and I who were born in 1998 and had 5 Super Bowls precede us, and we've only seen 3 Super Bowl losses. But like, I genuinely want to see you guys be happy. But when the Chiefs beat the Bills in the AFC Championship game, I just instantly got deja vu of it's happening again. Jaevon and I were ultra confident going into last year. Last season, the 49ers had the best running back in the NFL. This year, the Eagles have the best running back in the NFL. A new addition. And yet, the 49ers still lost. Yes, the 49ers didn't know the overtime rules, but they still lost because of that guy on the other sideline who was an all-time great. And that's what Tom Brady did for years and years and years. And I understand. Tom Brady lost to the Eagles in the Super Bowl. He also lost to the Giants twice in the Super Bowl. But Tom Brady was the only guy that could take down Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl to this point. And I'm still convinced that he will remain the only guy unless we maybe later in Patrick Mahomes' career, we might see someone else do it. But to this point, Patrick Mahomes is in the dead center of his prime. And I think that Patrick Mahomes is going to accomplish history by having a three-peat. And my Super Bowl MVP is the guy who had a stinker in the AFC Championship game. Travis Kelce is going to win Super Bowl MVP, and he's going to retire. He's going to go out right off into the sunset with his beautiful girlfriend, Taylor Swift, who won 0 Grammys yesterday. And the Chiefs will be crowned as the Super Bowl champions. They will three-peat. And even though Patrick Mahomes will continue to dominate as years go on without Travis Kelce, I think this is the end of the Chiefs dynasty as we know. Andy Reid might retire because what's a better way to go out than on a three-peat?
He's saying come back next year.
Okay, thank you, Jaevon. So there you go. That eliminates that possibility. But Travis Kelce, if he three-peats, I think this is it for him. And, I mean, Jason Kelce was saying on his late-night TV show, like, he doesn't know how many Trav has left. This might be it for him, especially if he wins another Super Bowl, goes out with 4 on a three-peat, and he wins Super Bowl MVP. If my prediction is correct, I got the Chiefs winning this one. If we're going to go with final scores, I say Chiefs 32-30. And Kevin, please tell me why I'm wrong about Trent McDuffie.
Before that, let's just close your eyes. You guys close your eyes, and I'm gonna tell you a story. There was once a boogeyman named Eli Manning, right? And people said he's the only man that could beat Tom. Nobody else can do it.
You got me to close. You got me to.
Hold on. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
You got me to close my eyes until you said Eli Manning.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. I'll participate.
They said only one person.
Eli Manning, guys.
Only one person can beat him. That's the only person that can do it. They're saying only one person can beat Mahomes. And then a guy named Nicholas Foles comes into the mix. Beats Tom Brady. Neither of you guys failed to mention they were on the verge of a three-peat as well. And unfortunately, they ran up against the Eagles, sent Tom packing to Tampa Bay. So maybe we do the same thing with Travis, and we send him on to retirement, fair and well. Now, this Trent McDuffie guy, very good, all pro. It's not that way with us. Same thing. That's with first game of the year. I told Jair Alexander, this is a different receiving core.
Trent McDuffie's better than
Jair Brown in that game. 7 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. They're the most receiving yards per game versus the Kansas City Chiefs, minimum 3 games. Do you know who that guy is?
Who is it?
Devontae Smith with 107 yards per game. Second on that list, Andre Johnson at 102. Third on that list, Marvin Harrison Sr. at 96. Fourth on that list with 94 yards is Jamar Chase. So you think Trent McDuffie scares me? He doesn't, but he is better than Derek Stingley.
Is he better than Jair Alexander?
Yeah, he's cooked. The pack is
All right,
indeed not
thank
back anymore.
Okay. So, all right. Well, Jaevon, but before we get out of here, I think there was something else that you wanted to say.
I just want to let everybody know, if the Eagles do not win on Sunday, this is going to be Kevin coming up on the podcast. This is Kevin. It's not going to be present.
No,
You're not
Shout
going
out
to see.
Shaun,
Shout
you
out to
can speak for
Arthur.
me, bro. I show up. I always show up. Win, lose, tie, or draw. I show up.
Oh,
Last
man.
time we lost, I showed up. I was late, but I still showed up. I take my L's the way I take my W's. But I tell you what, Monday comes around. You know what? Fuck Monday. Sunday night, Instagram Live. Me and the Hennessy bottle. Be ready. Because Kevin already took off Monday. I'm not coming.
Oh, that could be a good
Well,
or bad.
So I will just say this before the game happens, regardless of what the outcome is. The last time that the Eagles lost in the Super Bowl, I was dancing on their grave. I had a good old time. I was singing "Cry Eagles Cry." If the Eagles lose again to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, like Toddy and I are predicting, and I just have a gut feeling, like maybe I ate something bad, and that's why I have a bad gut feeling. But I just have a really bad gut feeling. Time to go to the doctor. But Kevin, I just have a really bad gut feeling that we're just going to see history repeat itself, and it's just going to be deja vu, where a team that the Chiefs already beat in the Super Bowl, they're going to do it again. Because I thought the 49ers were going to get their revenge last year, and maybe the Eagles are just far superior to the 49ers. The Eagles probably know the overtime rules now that the 49ers had such a blunder last year. But I'm just gonna next week, if what I feel is gonna happen, I'm gonna be here to comfort you. I will be virtually. I will be as much of a friend to you as I can, and I will be here for you. I promise that I'm not gonna be laughing or anything, because Toddy and I went through this last year, and that's why I'm so empathetic about it, is because we experienced this. Hope you don't have to, but I think it's inevitable at this point. But it'll definitely be a change of tune for me before or compared to the last Super Bowl. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Toddy, I will see you on Sunday for the King's first birthday party before I split off. But go ahead, Kevin.
Since you guys didn't like my Eli Manning analogy, all right, let's do it again. Close your eyes. Okay.
Oh God! Here. Oh, well, are you going to get me to open my eyes within 3 seconds again?
You're gonna like this one. You're gonna like it when I close your eyes. Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
We all purchase a ticket. We go see Avengers. They introduce Thanos, and the Avengers lose. All right. We wait a couple years. Avengers Endgame comes out, and they beat Thanos the second time. So why the fuck can't we? That's how we're gonna end the show today.
Why not us?
Why not us? The Avengers did the second time. Fuck Thanos.
Well, I mean, Kendrick Lamar did very well at the Grammys last night, and he did very well because of "Not Like Us." Well, I think that's what the Chiefs are going to be singing, is "Not Like Us." Toddy, one last time, could you please tell the people where to get their Valentine's treats if they haven't already gotten something?
Hey man, get it right and don't get
promotion
it
out
tight,
here.
man. We got that Niner chick, Instagram and TikTok. You need Valentine's Day gifts. You need to get your significant other. If it's your mom, your grandma, your girlfriend, get her something nice, man. Come on, I'm not going to tell you this again. Go down below, follow the Instagram, follow the TikTok, message good old T, see if you can get your treats. And we're here to make things happen, man. We're here to spread love, peace, and positivity. Go ahead, support, and go ahead and get your significant other something nice for Valentine's Day. It's coming up. It's around we're already at February 3rd. You're gonna blink. Valentine's Day gonna be like, oh man, I didn't get my girl anything. I ain't get her nothing. So go down below, follow Instagram, follow TikTok, DM her ASAP right now, pronto. Get your treats.
Yes, sir. Get those treats. Unless either of you have anything else that you'd like to say, that's going to do it for episode number 134 of Stats Over Politics. For the audio-only listeners, Kevin is flapping his arms like a bird right now because, as he would say, go birds, the fuck, right? Is that it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So there you go. So make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. If you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats or Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned in to episode number 134, Stats Over Politics. For my guys, Jaevon, Toddy, Kevin Nett, and Kaz Johnson of Kazzy Bear TV, I'm your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday after the Super Bowl on another episode of Stats Over Politics. Peace.
Nice. So